don't realize is those were rituals. The people performing the rituals probably didn't even realize that they was rituals.
Guided me to this religion in December 2008. When I said, La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah, that was the last day I smoked, that was the last day I drank. I haven't listened to the radio since. And I don't say that to boast or to brag. I say it out of gratitude.
Diddy would dress up as a woman in a veil, like a Muslim or Arab woman, during his freak-offs. This was stated at the testimony today at court by the exotic dancer Sheree Hayes, also known as the Punisher.
One was a culture vulture set here to sign you and to take all your rights, and you don't make no money, and you can't pass no rights down to your kids and nothing like that. That's P. Diddy.
Then once again, being kind of like a scapegoat for Puff's, characteristics or shortcomings or whatever the case may be. It's like, no man should be held accountable for another man.
Lon, the former bad boy rapper, is finally breaking his silence, and his revelations about working with Diddy are nothing short of explosive. In a recent interview, Lon opened up about the so-called bad boy curse, accusing Diddy of exploitation and manipulation, not only toward him, but also toward many other artists on the label. Lon, whose real name is Chanty Hawkins, suggests that what happened behind the scenes at Bad Boy Records went far beyond questionable business practices. He claims there was a dark, almost spiritual negativity surrounding Diddy, describing it as a sinister energy that affected everyone in Diddy's orbit. Although Lon had previously reconciled with Diddy after his release from prison and spoke publicly about forgiveness and second chances, his stance has since changed. Now he says not everyone is worthy of redemption, especially Diddy, whom he accuses of abusing his influence and orchestrating criminal acts from behind the scenes while letting others take the fall. Lon points out a disturbing pattern. Many bad boy artists either died, ended up in prison, or, like him, walked away from the industry entirely. In Lon's case, the pain and disillusionment eventually led him to Islam, where he found peace after years of inner conflict and self-reflection. He now sees his departure from music as part of a larger spiritual awakening and believes it's time to tell the full story. Lon, once one of Diddy's rising stars, and known for his iconic performances on tracks like I Need a Girl Parts 1 and 2, is now speaking his truth, completing the puzzle of what really happened behind the glamorous facade of Bad Boy Records.
I'll be in the studio, and it would almost be ritualistic. We would light candles, and as the beats are playing, they would, their hands would be moving like this, and they would be chanting different things over the music alone. This is before it goes to the writers. And honestly, I can hear it in my ears like it was just yesterday. Like it was amazing music. And I again, you don't get to those realms without a supernatural aid or a supernatural God.
Behind the scenes, things were far less glamorous than they appeared. Like many of Diddy's artists, Loon found himself trapped in a system that prioritized profit over the well-being of its talent. Disillusioned by the industry, he made the bold decision to walk away from both Bad Boy Records and the music business entirely in 2004, just a year after releasing his self-titled debut album. However, Loon's life took another dramatic turn. In 2011, he was arrested and later convicted on conspiracy charges related to drug trafficking. The case stemmed from incidents years earlier, and although he was sentenced to 14 years in federal prison, the conviction has sparked ongoing debate and controversy. Critics argue that Loon was mistreated by the justice system, claiming he was unfairly portrayed as a major player in a drug operation despite a lack of concrete physical evidence. Much of the prosecution's case relied on the testimonies of cooperating witnesses and questionable informants, many of whom had personal incentives to lie. Loon's defense team maintained that the government overreached in its pursuit of a harsh sentence and suggested that he had been set up or used as a scapegoat to target higher-level figures. Supporters echoed these claims, insisting he was unfairly singled out as an example. Following his release from prison in 2020, Loon, who had legally changed his name to Amir after converting to Islam in 2008, briefly reconnected with Diddy. During this time, he hoped that Diddy had changed. While incarcerated, Loon underwent a profound personal transformation. He embraced his faith more deeply, distanced himself from the celebrity lifestyle, and focused on spiritual growth. Prison gave him the space to reflect on his past and recommit to his beliefs, marking a new chapter in his life.
What should I say now? Come on, Mom, been the whole day, name. And all of the songs that I'm doing is female oriented, you know, female driven. I wrote all these records. Whether it's I Need a Girl, Part 1, Part 2, you know, Diddy, all the records.
Oh wow, didn't know that.
No One to Know, Marijuana's first single, I co-wrote on that. Because prior to that, I was a predicate felon. I was a Mansfield gangster crip. I was banging on both coasts. I was intertwined with all the things that correspond with Loon. So I ran down to the lobby of the hotel, first Muslim that I found. I asked him, how can I become Muslim? I said, I want to be Muslim.
At first, Lon's fresh perspective led him to forgive past wrongdoings. He wanted to let go, move on, and forget about Diddy and all the issues tied to him. However, that changed with the emergence of recent troubling accusations against Diddy. Lon now says his viewpoint has shifted. He believes that forgiving someone like Diddy doesn't matter if they continue to take advantage of you when given the chance. According to Lon, he has come to realize that Diddy used him as a scapegoat, rather than simply cutting ties. Diddy, Lon claims, ensured his own protection while letting others take the fall. Lon also alleges that he was set up and manipulated into taking the blame for actions that were actually Diddy's responsibility. His concerns go beyond money or shady contracts. He's speaking out about being deceived and used as a shield for Diddy's wrongdoing.
You know, being kind of like a scapegoat for Puff, you know, characteristics or shortcomings or whatever the case may be. It's like, no man should be held accountable for another man's, you know what I'm saying, dealings.
Yeah, I'm going to scapegoat. What exactly?
I think that a lot of times with how people perceive Puff can easily trickle down to the artists. You know what I'm saying? Unless you get to know them, then you might find some variation. Off the rip, it's like whatever is affiliated with Puff, it just becomes like this blanket thing. Guilt by association. It just becomes a blanket. It's like whatever he does right, you may reap the benefit from that. But definitely whatever he does wrong, you know what I'm saying?
Lon's story is not unique. It's part of a broader pattern often referred to as the bad boy curse. This leads to an unsettling observation. Many artists who were once signed to Bad Boy Records have left the music industry and turned to religion, often in deeply intense and transformative ways. These weren't just people finding faith. They underwent total life makeovers. Craig Mack, for instance, joined a strict Christian cult and disappeared from the public eye before, dying under suspicious circumstances. Lon converted to Islam. Shine embraced Orthodox Judaism. Mace became a Christian pastor. These changes go far beyond career burnout or financial disputes. There's a pattern of former bad boy artists seeking spiritual cleansing, almost as if they believed they had to be purified after their time at the label. Some have even speculated that something spiritually dark happened behind the scenes at Bad Boy Records. The idea is that these artists weren't just escaping the industry, they were trying to recover from deep psychological or even spiritual trauma. Rapper 50 Cent has long pointed this out. Years ago, he called Diddy the devil in human form and repeatedly accused him of dark dealings, including being complicit in the death of the notorious B.I.G. In resurfaced Instagram posts from 2016, 50 shared a series of images highlighting bad boy artists who turned to religion, captioning them with phrases like, "I rebuke you, Satan," and "not a bit of puff juice." One of the more peculiar stories involves G-Dep, a former bad boy artist who walked into a police station in 2010 and confessed to a murder he committed in 1993. Authorities were skeptical at first, thinking he was under the influence, but his confession matched an old unsolved case. G-Dep is now serving 15 years to life. Diddy publicly commented that G-Dep had done the right thing and suggested he was troubled by something deep within his soul. 50 Cent, however, found the situation bizarre. He posted a photo of G-Dep with the caption, "G-Dep got high after D, dancing with the devil, walked into a precinct and confessed to shooting a man 16 years ago. Now he's serving 15 to life. Where do they do that?" He later added a photo of Diddy and Biggie, writing, "Big dead after dancing with the devil." 50 continued by highlighting a string of former bad boy artists who all found religion after parting ways with Diddy: Craig Mack, Mace, Lon, and Shine. Each post came with the same ominous caption, "You need God in your life after you dance with the devil." He even referred to Mace's conversion as Puff's murder of Mace, metaphorically suggesting that the trauma of working with Diddy killed the old version of the man. The most unsettling aspect is that the claims about Diddy's alleged involvement in sinister or demonic practices aren't just internet rumors. Some of these stories come from insiders. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has publicly spoken about bizarre full moon rituals that allegedly took place. Rituals involving idol worship and disturbing behavior. Deal posted videos describing these events long before Diddy faced his current wave of lawsuits and legal scrutiny. Whether one sees these accounts as conspiracy theories or signs of something darker, the pattern is difficult to ignore. The bad boy curse remains one of the music industry's most disturbing mysteries.
Kim Porter's birthday was on the same day, and people was thinking that because of Puff gave his birthday party on her birthday, but it was bigger than that, and people don't understand that. And I think that he had almost told off on himself when he spoke about the winter solstice, and that's when the pagans and people who believe in the cult was looking for that moon on 12/12 at 12 a.m. And they were doing spiritual rituals at that time. That's when that was going to be the last day of the full moon, and that means that the seasons and all that stuff has changed. But when you get into that spiritual realm stuff, it was when they went and they paid homage to certain sacrifices, homage to certain idols. And on the third day, they would drink, party, be merry, and the men.
More recently, Pastor Rod Long, who turned to religion after working with Diddy, revealed that he witnessed actual rituals at Diddy's studio. Before becoming a pastor, Long was a music producer and briefly collaborated with Diddy in the infamous home studio of Diddy's father. In a recent interview with Tommy Ariomi, Pastor Long reflected on the first track he produced for Bad Boy. He claimed he didn't sleep for 4 consecutive days while working in the studio. The experience, he said, wasn't pleasant. The atmosphere was dark and unsettling, which he described as demonic. Despite the eerie energy, he felt something pushing him to keep going. According to Long, the deeper he got into that ominous environment, the more his beats improved and his popularity grew.
Even the first record that I did for Bad Boy Records, I remember being in the studio for 4 days straight, no sleep, because I was driven by something more than just my own ability. It was something driving me.
Is it the demonic spirit?
I believe it was a demonic spirit in the sense that if I wasn't in those realms, I couldn't hear the music like that. I couldn't hear it as clear. Like, there were certain sounds and certain things that I could hear and produce that if I wasn't in that mind frame, I wouldn't be able to produce it.
So what got you in that mind frame? What would it be?
It would be focus, just almost channeling something else. We getting in the studio and just, channeling it, just pulling it out. And when I got to a certain level of it, I noticed it could come in 5 minutes. I could just create something and it would be amazing. Some of the most amazing music I ever heard.
This is where things become even more eerie. Pastor Lon claimed he witnessed people conducting seances at Diddy's studio, describing them as elaborate rituals filled with chanting and candlelight. We'd all be in the studio, he recalled, and it felt almost ritualistic. Candles would be lit, and as the beats played, people would move their hands in strange ways and chant over the music. This was before it even reached the writers. Honestly, I can still hear it like it was yesterday. The music was incredible, but you don't get to that level without some kind of supernatural aid or guidance. Lon's journey serves as a stark example of what it takes to escape that kind of darkness. And now, with more people coming forward, it raises an unsettling question. Was Lon's imprisonment actually a blessing in disguise? Was leaving the music industry and turning to faith the only true escape from the depravity he encountered under Diddy? What are your thoughts on Lon's story?